Hi friends and welcome to another video. Today I am bringing you my February floss tube. So this will be all the stitching that I got done from my last update, which was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago potentially. I didn't get as much stitching done in February as I would have liked. The month kind of just got away from me, so I didn't meet all of my goals, but I'm not mad about it because I still stitched, and that is the main thing. As long as I'm making progress, then that's the most important thing. Jumping right on in, I'm going to start with new starts. That sounded so strange saying it that way. This I I hesitate calling this a new start. What first project, and I'm already throwing things across the room. That's probably how how today's gonna go. That's the vibe. So I hesitate to call this a new start because I've literally done 10 stitches on it. So this is, oh goodness, I should have it written down hopefully. Um, maybe not. I do. This is Stag Heart. I think this is number 2 from the Etsy shop Light Unicorn Designs. I'm doing this for my great aunt for her Christmas. Last year I done Knoll for my grandma, so this year I am doing this stag heart. My great aunt loves stags, so this just seemed like the perfect pattern. And I'm doing this on 18 count River Huts Designs fabric. I'm not taking the hoop out. So this is the fabric. The start is very minimal, as you can see. I do hesitate to call this a start, but I'm in love with this fabric. This is River Hut Designs. I toot about them every time I come on here because I just love their fabric. And I'm hoping with the colors of the stags being like browns and beiges that it'll stand out against this grey. And then I can potentially put this in a wooden frame to bring out. So I'm hoping that the stag heads will stand out against the grey, and then when I frame it, the beige and brown tones of the stag heads will match the frame essentially. This is a project that I need to figure out what I want to do with, because if I want to get it done by Christmas, then I'm gonna need to work on this every month, and I'm gonna have to have a stitch goal for it. I put this into Pattern Keeper and I've had an issue that it keeps reading the background. So I have like 13,000 stitches that will not be stitched on Pattern Keeper. So my numbers for this, I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and accurately get my numbers by taking away the background numbers that I won't be stitching, um getting the right number and then taking away my percentage as I stitch so that I can get accurate numbers, because pattern keeper didn't really like this pattern, and I'm just gonna have to work with it because I already spoke to my aunt and I gave her a few options of which pattern she liked. She chose this one, and I also gave her fabric choice. So I just want to work with it, and hopefully I can get some stitching on this going forward. I don't know. I will have to figure out my numbers. So the next time I come to you, I will have a more accurate goal in mind for this project, because at the moment I I haven't figured it out, which I should have done before I started filming, but it's fine. I will probably stitch on this in March. I'm not going to set a goal for it just yet, simply because I don't know what my goal should be. But by the next time you come back, I will have more progress on this, and I will have more accurate information on what I need. Next, we're going to jump into whips. So this is my current projects that I have put progress in. So the first thing I stitched on in February was Firefly by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. My goal was to get 500 stitches on this. I got 607 stitches. And I still have some hanging threads, but it's fine. I did move the Q-snap. So this is what we are looking like here. Now, this looks different from the last time you've seen it because I was doing the Royal Rose method the last time you've seen this, but the back got way too thick. So I am in the process of stitching in all of the hanging threads so that I can then do this typewriter method, which is new for me. So this is where it is now, and I will put a picture on screen of where it was the last time that you've seen it. I will say that stitching in these hanging threads have made me enjoy this project more. The back isn't so thick and I don't seem to be getting as much pain while stitching. So I completed my goal for this on in February, which is great. I am really liking it. I'm really glad that I got to move the Q snap because there is more stitching under here. I'm now on well on my way to getting page 2 to a decent place. I love how this looks, but I am starting to worry. This was my first full coverage project, and I'm starting to worry because this is a mini, and I think that when I get to the woman, she's gonna look very pixelated. But I'm not gonna give up because even if she looks pixelated, I'm still gonna love this as my first full coverage. This was the one that I started, fell in love with, and discovered, made me discover Heaven and Earth Designs. Like, this will always hold a place in my heart, even if it doesn't turn out the best quality. But I wasn't ready to jump in straight away to like a regular size chart. So I thought the mini was the best way to go. But now I'm starting to worry. And I think if I'm not doing Royal Rose method, then I think what I may do is I may finish this second page and then maybe come across on a diagonal for this page here so that I can see what the woman is going to look like. I think that page would be where the woman is. Potentially, I think I might find my way to the woman to try and stitch that page so I know, like, in my head what it's going to look like before. But the thing is that's kind of like a catch-22, isn't it? Because if I stitch that part of the pattern and end up not liking the way the woman looks, then I will lose momentum on this piece. Whereas if I stitch around the woman and do that last, I'll have no choice but to finish it, even if I'm not liking the results. So I'm not sure what I want to do with this quite yet, but I think the main thing is just to continue stitching on it. My goal for the year is to get this to a second page finish. So I think it's best just to stay with that simplistic goal, and then after that I can figure out what I want to do from there. Next we have here Stranger Things versus Nightmare on Elm Street. This is by Tilton Crafts. I'm doing this 2/1 on 18 count, which is the same for Firefly. So this one had the goal of 300 stitches, and I managed to complete 298. So I was 2 away from the completion of my goal, but close enough. And this is what we're looking like with this project. I originally started this project doing the columns and then working it into the next column, but again, my back was getting way too thick. So I then came down and started on the diagonal, which I was planning to keep with no hanging threads. I wasn't planning to park. But I have discovered that parking this way is going okay. I'm trying to only park when I really have no other option and don't want to waste thread or waste time cutting thread when I can use it in the next block. So I'm trying to keep my parking at a minimal, but I will say once I changed this to the diagonals, this project got so much easier to work on. So this is the before and after. 300 stitches, well, roughly 300 stitches, doesn't sound like an awful lot, but I do see the progress in it, which I like to see. I think that I'm part process stitcher, part finishing stitcher. See, I want the finished designs. Like, I want to see things finished and I want to see them all pretty done. But also with these full coverages, I'm not too bothered about the finish so much as I'm I like the process. I like seeing the picture gradually come together. And even though I am very much still in sky right now, I know that when I hit this this diagonal here, I'll start to see some of Freddy Krueger's hat. So, it's that thing where I like to see things come together slowly and enjoy the process, but I really want to see finishes too. So I think I'm maybe in between. And yeah, I am enjoying stitching on this. I'm a huge horror movie fan. I loved Stranger Things, which I didn't know if I would, um, because I wasn't sure if it was my cup of tea, but my niece, she absolutely adored it and convinced me to watch it, and I end up really enjoying it. So I thought like this was the best kind of amalgamation of my love for horror and my love for Stranger Things. And, it will always be a memory that my niece introduced me to a TV show that I ended up loving. So I think that's really cute. Next here we have A Little Magic by Stitch Rovia. This is 2/1 on 18 count River Hut Designs fabric. My goal for this was 380 stitches, I think. And I managed to get 393 stitches for a total of 40.07%. I did forget to say for Firefly, I'm at 13.09%. For Freddy, I'm at 2.25%. So my goal for the year for this one was to get to 40%. And then, so I don't know if I made it clear in my goals on my whip parade. If you're interested in my whip parade, I will leave that linked somewhere so you can watch it. Um, I made easier goals for things so that I wasn't putting pressure on myself. I still wanted something to be a challenge. I still wanted to be pushing myself, but I didn't want to be overbearing with my goals. So I made some goals easier and some goals a little harder. And with this one specifically, what I was thinking was because it's fairly easy to hit 40% on this, I will swap this out for like one of my other projects that has an easier goal, and I will rotate my easier projects. So my full coverages kind of stay in the rotation. Same with my present, and my stag head will stay in the rotation all month long because I kind of need that to complete my goals by the end of the year. But then I have projects like this where I can swap out. So here we have it. I am now at 40%, and this project will be going not in time out, but it will be swapped out for one of my other projects until I meet my goals. So this will probably come out, but it'll be more towards later on in the year. I might take it out for some Halloween stitching. I might take it out for, a day here or there where I don't have anything else to stitch on. And I can fold this so I can hold it. Oh, that is probably not a good idea. And I will put on screen a before so you can see what it looked like before. I also got my margins wrong on this one. Again, I need to remember that when I'm working with 18 count, I need to do 18 per inch instead of, my brain thinking that 10 was an inch for some strange reason. So this project will now be going into a little bit of a timeout, but only because I will be swapping it out for one of my other patterns to try and get goals. So I think I'll speak more about this in plans, but I think my stag head will kind of take the place of stitching on this one because that's a new start that I need to work on every month. Ooh. There we go. My next project is I See You My Dreams by Genovia Art, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is done 2/1 tent stitch on 22 count. It is my first tent stitch project. I'm really enjoying it. I have some questions. I hope that, you can see what I mean in the in this video so that you can maybe help me. So I my goal for this was 500 stitches. I got 490 stitches for a total of 3.05%, and it's still in the hoop. This is how we're looking. Now, I'm hoping that you can see this the way that I can, but I'm starting to see like column lines, and I'm not sure that if it's because I have gridded this with pencil and the colors that I'm stitching are light, so the pencil's showing through the stitches, and that's why I'm seeing the lines, or if it's actually like separation. I am trying to do this tent stitch of I I don't know exactly how to explain this. I took loads of different inspiration from loads of different YouTube videos and what I found online. So I am trying to do this in the best manner. I'm also working it down here because there's a castle in this project that I want to see in tent stitch so I can figure out if the detailing is enough for me to continue this on tent stitch. But I'm worried that those lines won't wash out, and I don't know how to fix them if there are tension lines. So any advice you could give me, I would greatly appreciate it. So this is the before and after. This one just looks like color blobs at this precise moment. It doesn't look like much because it is more scattered than my other full coverages, and I'm working in sky. There's not very much you can see in sky, although the picture, I will say, this is the sky. The castle will come down here, and then this is like the archway of the pattern. So it is, I can see some things come through in this, but it does very much just look like lines. I'm really hoping that once I wash this project, the pencil marks will come out and it won't look like actual lines. What I think I may do is I may try down here where I don't have any gridding, I might try and do it without gridding and kind of see if that makes a difference, because if I do it without the gridding and I have no lines, then I know that it will wash out from here. But if I do it without gridding and there's still lines, then I'll know that it's my stitching that's the issue and not the gridding. That's the only idea I have so far. So hopefully that'll work. I'm not quite sure. But I'm having fun stitching on it nonetheless. It is a beautiful pattern and I really like doing the tent stitch. I just need to figure out if it's going to work. If not, then I think I may try the 1/1 full cross on the 22 count because I like this fabric. I like stitching on it, so I would probably just convert it to 1/1 and see how I get on with that. But I'm hoping that I can figure out if the tension lines are going to be an issue. Next here I have a little bit of haul, so acquisitions. I do have a few. So the first thing I want to show you is fabric, because if you didn't watch my last Flosstube, I decided the pattern No You Hang Up, it's Ghostface from Scream. I wanted to restart it because the fabric that I cut for it didn't leave enough room for the words, so I had to cut off the words. And now the fabric is fraying and it's also just not nice to stitch on. So I decided, what's the point of stitching on something that I'm not feeling good feelings towards? So I decided to buy Don't Forget the Calambres by Riverhut Designs fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart it on this fabric. And I think the red will still pop because the red in the pattern is 666, so it's really bright, and this is like a darker color. But I thought, like, what better way to stitch Ghostface than on, blood colored fabric? I love it. So this won't be a new start for a while. Essentially, it's a restart, but because I'm starting my Staghead project, I just thought it would be smart to leave this for the time being and start it at a later date. But it's good to know that I have the fabric ready to go for when I do decide to restart it. Next, I have some patterns. So it was Valentine's Day, and my best friend Effie, they are always linked in the description. They also do cross stitch videos if you're interested. They bought me a bunch of patterns for Valentine's Day. So thank you so much, Effie, if you're watching this. I am forever grateful and I can't wait to stitch on some of these. So the first one I have here is Dragon Race into the Night by Rose Khan. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I do believe Rose Khan is going to be a retired artist from Haid soon enough. So this was one of the patterns that I knew that I wanted. It's been on my wish list for like since I discovered Heaven and Earth Designs. I got the regular version so that I could keep the detail instead of risking losing. I think with something like this, because it's such a vivid piece, if I went mini, it would have lost too much detail. This is a big project, so this won't be a start anytime soon. Although I do want to start a full coverage that I have, but I'm trying to not start it because I just started a new full coverage. I said in my whip parade that I didn't want to start any new projects. I totally have just abandoned that goal because I am going to start things as and when I see fit, apparently. And it's fine. It's fine. As long as I'm stitching on all of them and I'm happy, that's all that matters. The next pattern is Whatever Bitch Balls by Unconventional Cross Stitch. This is a really funny unicorn pattern. It's kind of snarky. It's fun. And also this would potentially be easy to stitch. And I don't know when I'm going to get to this, but it's really nice to have this. I also have Baby Baphomet by Kia Harris. Again, unconventional cross stitch. I really like this because it has a lot of block colors, and I think this would be like really therapeutic to stitch because of the block colors. I'm not sure. As I said, I'm not sure when I'm going to get to any of these because I'm already starting a new. I said in December that I didn't want to start anything new. I started something new in January, and I'm gonna be. I just started the Stackhead in February. Although I will say that I did abandon Ghostface, so I suppose that one of them was swapped out in a sense. I don't know. I'm going with it. We're going with the flow. The next one I have is the Dragon Kelpie pattern by Needle Lot Designs on Etsy. There's two versions of this. There is the dragon that has the wings and the Kelpie that doesn't. I will be stitching the dragon one. I may potentially change the colorways on this. I haven't 100% decided. I think it may depend on what fabric I choose to stitch this on. But I love this pattern, and even if I stitch it with its right colors, I still love it. But I will be doing the one with the wings. Next, we have Psychedelic by Sharova Creations on Etsy. This is, I always say that I should have been born in the 70s. I should have been born as, not born in the 70s. I should have been, you know, um, living as a teenager maybe or slightly older in the 70s. I should have been in with the hippie crowd because I am a hippie at heart, and I always make that joke that I'm just like I'm living to the soundtrack of Dreams by Fleetwood Mac because I am such a hippie at heart. I can't say much more. So this was Effie's joke that they couldn't pass up getting me a psychedelic pattern because I'm a hippie. And I love that. I love that. I don't know what I would do with this. I was thinking that what I may do is keep the pattern, but maybe chart in a quote, just to give me something else. This again would probably be quite therapeutic to stitch because it's a lot of block colors. And if I put in a quote, I can make it like a hippies quote. Maybe I could use something from Dreams from Fleetwood Mac, um, because that's like a favorite song of mine. But yeah, I love this, and I will be doing something with this. Probably not for a while, but I'm excited to have it. Then finally, we have Stained Glass Deer. It's the small by Sharova Creations on Etsy again. And this is, it's so interesting because when I was looking for stag head patterns for my aunt, I had saved this one, but I realized that it would just be too big to get done in like 10 months. So I had this on my wish list, and I thought, well, if I stitch the stag head one that my aunt picked, then I can stitch this one for myself. And it just so happened that Effie bought it for me. So I'm very grateful to have this in my stash because it was from my wish list. So those are the acquisitions. I have ended up with 6 new patterns and 2 new pieces of fabric. Also, if you hear some snoring, my dog is at my feet. So I do apologize, but I don't want to disturb her peace. So yeah, and my dog can really snore. So if you hear that, I do apologize. Let's move on to plans. Now, I actually have nothing written down because I was thinking. And the last couple of months, I gave myself stitch numbers as a goal. So I've said I want 500 on this project, 500 on that project. In the munch words, they are hard. In the month of March, I would like to use days instead. And there was one project that I didn't complete my goal on, which was to get 1,000 stitches on No Time Like the Present by Modern Folk Embroidery. I still have 3 days left of February, so I'm hoping if I stitch on that monogamously for the next 3 days, I'll be able to get the 1,000 stitches in. So I'm still completing my goal for February, but it just won't be in this update because I didn't do it quick enough. So hopefully the next time you come back, I will have 1,000 stitches into No Time Like the Present. But what I was thinking was assigning days, like number of days to things instead, and just saying once those days are up, whatever I get is whatever I get. So I think for this might be hard actually. So I think for something like No Time Like the Present, I would need to dedicate 5 days to just to get that 1,000 stitches in to make sure that I have enough time because that is the one that I need the most stitches in. So I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget as we go. So we're gonna say 5 days on present, and then I think I'm gonna give 7 days to Staghead just because it's a new start and I would like to get a good amount of progress into this for it being a new start. I also need to figure out how many stitches I need a month on this project to have it done by roughly the last week of December. Well, no, kind of. I want to have it done and ready for Christmas. So I need to figure out how much stitches I need to do on that also. Uh, then we have Firefly. I'm gonna give 3 days to Firefly and 3 days to Freddy. I don't know, so I can roughly get about 100 stitches a day in fairly comfortably if it's a work day, and I can normally get about 200 stitches in comfortably if it's a weekend, unless I have more time, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So I think 3 days will be fine. I don't have to do them consecutively. Like I can pick 3 days as long as it's stitched on 3 days in the month. That's all that matters. So if I was to do this, like for Firefly, I know I need like 500 stitches a month to meet my end year goals. But if I done 2 days a week and then dedicated one day of a weekend to it, I could potentially hit those numbers. Which is why I'm interested in trying it this way because it means that I can move around a bit more It means that I'm not solely focused on the numbers that I'm stitching. I'm more focused on just making sure it gets enough attention. So those, I think that, so normally I would put dreams in here. Am I going to put dreams in here? 5, 8, and 19. I have 19 days covered so far. And the 3 days on present that I'm away to do might count for my March goals because I won't be coming back until halfway through March to update you. Um, so we're not going the month of March. We're maybe going like for the next 3 weeks, which will give me 21 days, which would mean 19 days are covered, which yeah, I mean, I'm gonna leave adding another project in at this precise minute simply because I want to give myself some buffer time to maybe pick up another project that doesn't necessarily have year end goals on. And I want to be able to, not restrict myself so much that I don't have freedom to stitch what I want when I want. So I think I'm going to stick with these goals for the time being. And if I have some time, I can either choose not to stitch. I can have a day where I don't stitch because sometimes that happens. Oftentimes I'll be busy and I won't be able to set aside the time to stitch. So I think I'm going to leave it at this so that I give myself that wiggle room to have no stitching days and also give myself some time if I want to stitch what I want when I want. So that is it. That is my Flosstube for the start of March. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you are stitching away. I hope to see you again for my next one, which will be, I don't know when it will be. I have it written down somewhere. Um, which will be the 22nd of March. I do think I'm going to have a Flosstube extra also this month. So this will be coming to you. It'll be the first when I upload this. My next update will be the 22nd. And then on the 29th, I will have a Flosstube extra where I talk about all the projects in my stash and the projects in my immediate wish list. So if you would like to see any of those videos, like to keep up to date with my progress, remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you have a great day, a great week, a great weekend, whenever the hell you're watching this. Remember to stay safe, happy, and healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye.